So into the spirit of truth and reconciliation, let's bring out some real truth on the origin history story of the RCMP. Everyone knows the RCMP as Canada's iconic police force, red uniforms, Mounties, national pride. But what they don't teach you is that the RCMP was literally founded as a military force designed to control Indigenous populations. After Canada bought their land, this is the origin story they erased from history. Follow for the history they don't teach you in schools. This gets worse. In 1869, Canada purchases Western Canada from the Hudson's Bay Company. There's just one problem. Indigenous people are already living there, so Canada sends in military forces. They're not there to keep the peace. They're there to clear the land. The Red River Métis resist. And what happens next? The New York Times called a reign of terror, murders, rapes, destruction of homes, all carried out by Canadian forces. And when it's over, those forces don't disband, they're reorganized into Canada's First Nation police force. The Northwest Mounted Police, later named the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, the RCMP, their job was never to serve Indigenous communities. It was to control them, to enforce treaties that stole land, to break up resistance, to remove children from their families, and force them into residential schools. This isn't conspiracy. This is documented history. The RCMP enforced the Indian Act, a law that bans Indigenous people's ceremonies, restricted movement off reserves, and criminalized Indigenous culture. Officers were the ones who physically removed children from their homes and took them to residential schools where thousands died. Fast forward to today's Indigenous people. We make up only 5% of Canada's population, but 30% of those killed by police. The RCMP still police most reserved communities, and when Indigenous women go missing, investigations are delayed, ignored, or mishandled. The national inquiry found gross systemic inadequacies and blatant failures in how police handled cases of missing and murdered Indigenous women. The RCMP wasn't broken by colonialism. It was built for colonialism. Understanding this history isn't about hating police. It's about understanding why Indigenous communities don't trust the system and why they have every reason not to, and have been traumatic involvement in Indigenous people, including myself firsthand, in racism, unfair treatment, manipulation, gaslighting, and lying. I've heard it from their own mouth. They don't have to tell the truth. So the question becomes, you got to ask yourself, are these the people, or this the organization that you want to protect and serve your community? Is this really service and protection of the general public? Or is it just made to enforce against Indigenous people and to harass them and to continue the genocide that's still happening in so-called illegal corporation called Canada